Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to 2022. This is the first video that I'm going to film in 2022. And let's start off high with some eyeshadow palette video. So today I'm going to rank all my eyeshadow palettes that I tried out in 2021. And I have 51 palettes to rank. So it was not easy at all. It was super stressful, just to say the least. So if you guys want to see how I ranked all my 51 palettes, then please keep on watching. So let's begin. On number 51, I have Nomad's Tuscana palette. Now this palette, it's only ranking on the bottom. It's just because of the color story. The color story seems super boring to me. So I reached out to this palette, I think twice in the whole year. And that was mainly because of this shade and this shade. That is it. I don't think otherwise I did reach out. I don't think this palette is bad by any means, but the color story is yawn worthy. So that's why it is on number 51. On number 50, we have a Believe Beauty eyeshadow palette, and this one is in the shade Nearly Nude. Now, is this bad by any means? I don't think so. All these, the last 10 eyeshadow palettes, I think, I have not reached out for this. And again, for $5, is it worth it? I think yes. But amongst the rest of the palettes, does it stand anywhere near? I don't think so. So that's the only reason why I'm ranking this on number 50. On number 49, we have a Makeup Geek's eyeshadow quad in the shade Joyful Jade. Now, again, this is not the color story that I go for because I'm not big on greens. I have just reached out for this palette only once. I won't lie, but is the quality good? Yes, it is. The color story, not interesting. So that's why number 49. Okay, on number 48, I'm going to rank all these three together because it just makes sense for me like that. So I'm going to rank all the e.l.f. bite-size palettes together, which I tried in 2021. I have Carnival Candy, I have Hot Jalapeno, and I have Pumpkin Spice. Again, 4 eyeshadows for me is pretty less. I am a bougie person when it comes to eyeshadow palettes, and 4 eyeshadows cannot do much variety for me. I can create 2 or 3 looks, but when I'm looking for an eyeshadow palette, I am looking at variety. I'm looking at the quality. I feel like the shimmers are really good in these palettes. But again, would I travel with 4-pan eyeshadow palette when I'm going for a vacation? I don't think so. I'll basically travel with a good 12-pan or 10-pan eyeshadow palette. That's how I roll. I don't know how you guys roll, but that's how I roll. That's why I'm going to rank this on number 48. On number 47, we have LA Girl's Holidays palette. Now, this was the holiday collection from LA Girl. They came out with 2 palettes, and this one is in the shade Holidays. Now, this color story is really good. Very impressed by the shimmers. Not at all impressed by the mattes because I know LA Girl can do eyeshadows really good, but this was not their strongest point. There was a ton of fallout from the mattes, and all these mattes are very mid-tone and look very similar on their eyes. I feel like the eyeshadow palette could have been a little more condensed and they could have done so much more with the color story. Am I a little disappointed? I think yes, because I think it's just an opportunity missed, So that's why this is going to be on number 47. On number 46, we have Alter Ego's Blooms palette. Now, I personally do love all the Alter Ego palettes. Out of the eyeshadow palettes that I have tried, this is the only one that is a little miss in the quality, I would say. And that's just because I have a hard pan already on this shadow. This shadow, which is beautiful purple orchid shade, it doesn't perform much on the eyes. It doesn't come off on the fingers at all. And I think they wanted to replicate their cream to powder formula, which I don't think that they have done pretty good. Even this was a cream to powder formula, but this has a little more of the pigment coming through, but rest of the shades are pretty awesome. But because there is inconsistency in this palette, I'm going to rank this on number 46. Okay. It's getting bad. On number 45, I have Iconic London's Big Palette. And what is this called? This is called Sunset to Sunrise palette. Now, this is a beautiful quality palette. I don't know why do I not reach for this. I think it's just because it's a big palette in my collection. This basically stands as a stand for my camera. I won't lie. Like, I have reached for this and the quality was really, really good. I'm not basically into those warm tones anymore. I think the color story is what is throwing me off, and the number of eyeshadows. Like, don't give me a 4-pan eyeshadow, but also don't give me a 30-pan eyeshadow palette. So I'm not like against big eyeshadow palettes because I love my Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette, the original palette. I really love that and I reach out for that a lot. I don't know, this color story doesn't scream Smithy to me, so that's why this is on number 45. On number 44, it's MAC Cosmetics Nude Model Palette, and this again, the quality is outstanding, guys. But these tones on my medium tan skin tone, like, I mean, everything just looks like a mauve tone color story on my eyes. Like, unless I'm going for like this color story, which I'm not. Like, when I'm doing an eyeshadow, I'm doing some vibrant eyeshadows, I'm doing some like purpley. I want to have fun. This doesn't scream fun to me. That is why this is on number 44. Now the reasonings are going to be bizarre, I feel. On number 43, I have a palette from Wet n Wild, and this is called Call Me Sunshine palette. Now, if you guys are big on like golden tones and yellow tones, I think you're gonna love this palette because quality is amazing. I don't reach out for like yellow mustardy tone eyeshadow palette. Like, I love it in summer, but it ends there. Like, I love it in summer. So that is why this is ranking on 43. But again, the eyeshadow quality is really, really good. Let me swatch a few of these eyeshadow so that you see what's the quality all about. Like, I'm wearing a hoodie today. Why? Like, it's not bad by any means. Like, it's really, really good. It's just that I'm not keen on wearing like yellow golds on my eyes. That's why. On number 42, we have Profusion Cosmetics Violets palette. Now, this is a beautiful purple palette. If you're looking for a palette which is under $5, just go for this. Like, I would just say go for it. I'm a big purple lover. It's like neutrals to me in the color family. Like, I love purples. If you give me this palette and a few palettes that I'm going to rank further in the video, I don't think I'm going to reach for this. I would rather reach for that. That's why I have ranked this a little lower, but the quality again is really good. Like, these duochromes, this beautiful like purple shade, and you know, the pastel shade, these are like really, really good shades. So I think you won't go wrong. If you're looking for like a drugstore palette, I would highly recommend that. But if you can invest in a high-end palette, I would recommend that. Just because this quality doesn't like scream out of the rooftop. So that's why, okay? On number 41, we have Star Wars Mandalorian palette with Colourpop. Now, this is such a cute little palette. The only reason why this is ranking a little low is just because I'm not like a big green person, and you guys know it. And if I'm going for a green palette, you personally would know what green palette am I going for. Like, these minty greens is not my color vibe, but the quality is amazing. So if you are into those mints and greens, and I think personally, if you love that color story, you would absolutely love it. Me personally, like, I have loved using this palette. I've quite a few times I've used this palette and I've loved the formula of it. I'm not big on green and I don't reach out for this a lot, and that's why I'm ranking this on 41. I hope you understand. On number 40, I have Alter Ego's Goddess palette. Now, this is a beautiful palette. Like, I love this color story. Like, I really do. Like, I don't know from now onwards how am I going to rank it. It's just that because it's a neutral palette, I have a ton of neutral palettes in my collection which I reach out for more rather than this. And the only time when I reach out for this is when I have to like get something like Natasha Gold on my eyes, like inspo look, or if I'm like looking for that rich emerald green look, that is when I reach out for this. But otherwise, I think for the neutrals, I have a lot of neutral palettes in the collection, but I don't think you're going to be disappointed if you get this palette because the quality is really, really nice. And I think they have done like a good job duping the gold palette. On number 39, I have another Colourpop palette, and this is It's My Pleasure palette. Now, this is another purple palette in my collection. I know why I don't reach for it, but is it a good palette? I think this is an amazing palette. I think this color story really is like beautiful. They have like very light tones to like extremely deep tones. I love this shade Sleeper. I love the duochromes too. Like I love this shade. I love this middle shade. I really love this palette, and I have done like a dedicated video using this palette too. If I'm traveling, I would rather take this palette rather than the other palette that I'm going to talk about. But for my everyday use, if I have the access of dipping into the other purple palette, I would not reach out for this. That is why this is ranking on number 39. Okay, and now I don't know, guys. I just don't know. I feel like all these palettes are so good. I feel like I'm ditching some of the palettes. I really feel that way. Like the palettes are gonna feel sad when they see my ranking. I really feel like. On number 38, I have KKW Beauty's Classic Blossom palette. Now this color story, there's nothing wrong with this. It's only that I am not big into burgundy tones right now. For a while, I was in a phase where I used to love burgundy tones. Right now, I'm just enjoying my neutrals and purples. I really am. But when I am going for that color story, I definitely do dip into this few palettes. Like from now onwards, like 5-6 palettes are going to be the same color story. And that's only because I am not big into burgundy tones right now. There's nothing wrong with this palette. Like the shimmers are beautiful. Let me just swatch a few. And even these light tones that you're seeing in this palette, let me swatch that too. It's pretty deep when you apply it on your eyes, and it shows very nicely on my skin. Like, look at that. Like the quality is there. It's just the color story, like I'm over it. Okay, on number 37, we have Laura Lee Los Angeles Nudie 2 palette. Again, similar way, I would say. The only reason why am I ranking this one higher than the other one is just because of these two topper shades. It's beautiful, and I generally dip into this palette mainly because to dip into that topper shades. Like you need to see that. Those topper shades are amazing. Like I generally dip into that palette just to dip into that copper shades. And even the mattes for that matter, like it's really good shadows. Like there's nothing to take away from it. But like, am I reaching for it? Not really. But the quality is there, okay? I really don't know. This is like, this category that I'm going to like rank for the next 10 eyeshadow palettes is going to be like, it's a good eyeshadow palette. So if you buy it, you will not be disappointed, but there is better. That's the category of these eyeshadow palettes. On number 36, it's Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. Now you guys tell me, like I've gotten over the color story. That is why I'm ranking this low. And you guys know Modern Renaissance had launched like 2 or 3 years ago. I'm over it, and I got this as a gift. So I cherish it. And when I'm in that burgundy tone mood, when it's like autumn, I dip into this palette because I love the quality of Anastasia. I really do. So I cherish having this palette with me, but I'm not dipping into this palette all year round. That's why it's ranking a little low. On number 35, we have Sigma's Warm Neutrals palette. Now again, you know how much I love my Sigma palettes. I really do. Again, the color story is like super burgundy. So it's very seasonal for me. It's very autumn palette for me. And that's like 2 months out of the year, you know. So that's why I'm ranking this. But the quality is absolutely amazing. If you are a burgundy person, you need this. Like you absolutely need this in your collection. Do not think twice. This is absolutely stunning palette. Stunning palette if you love burgundies. On number 34, we have BH Cosmetics Beautiful in Barcelona palette. Again, very similar color story with like pop of blues, but the quality is top notch. Like if you ask me, like my number 1 palettes from drugstore, it's gonna be BH Cosmetics. Like I would not even like doubt telling you that. It's just the color story for me. Like I don't go for these deep tones all year round, and I have to be in that like deep smoky eye moods to dip into this. But I know when I dip into this, I'm gonna get amazing looks, and that's why I'm ranking this a little low. And this would be on number 34. On number 33, it's a newest Morphe palette that came into my collection, and that is Divine Neutrals palette from Jaclyn Hill. Now, I feel like I cherish the original Jaclyn Hill palette a little more than this just because I'm getting variety. But saying that, if you are like looking into neutrals only without the other colors, I think you're gonna love it. Like, this is like my office palette. I absolutely love like these neutral tones for running and airing kind of a look. I generally do dip into this, but it's like nothing unusual in this. If you love bronzy tones, if you love like golds, you are gonna love this palette, just because there's not like much variety. When you are applying it on your eyes, it's gonna look like a bronzy tone eyeshadow. Do you get what I'm saying? On number 32, we have Hip Dot's Zion palette. Now, I absolutely love this palette. This, for me, is like beautiful quality. Like, I love the quality of this palette. It's just that I don't reach for these like oranges and like hot pinks and lavender tones on my eyes. But when I'm reaching for this, I have created some beautiful looks with this palette. I really do love the quality of these eyeshadows, because I seriously feel like Hip Dot does like really good eyeshadows. Let me swatch a few for you, like, because I don't want you to take it otherwise just because it's ranking a little low. But look at that shine and dimension, especially for the shimmers. And the mattes are also super blendable and super buildable. But the shimmers, oh my god, look at that shine. I love it. I absolutely do. On number 31, we have Nabla's Secret palette. Now, this is the palette that I actually got earlier, I think in January of 2021. And I'll tell you which row I love the most. I love the top row the most. Like, I love these tones on my eyes. This shade looks very, very similar to my skin tone, just in like a sheeny format. So I don't love that. But these mattes are amazing. Like, I love Nabla mattes. It's very, very comparable to Natasha Denona mattes. I love Natasha Denona's mattes. It's like that creamy matte formula. And this is so beautiful. Like, these are some beautiful, beautiful tones. And I love these tones. Like, I absolutely love it. And the shimmer formulas, for that matter, I really love Nabla's like normal shimmer formulas. I don't like their sheeny formulas. So for me, like Aesthetic, Romeo, I Promise, and Hypersensual is like a dud in this palette. But I love Big Experience, Rosemary, Play Hard, Fantasize. You need to see this. Like, they are some beautiful shadows, like beautiful shadows. You are not going to be disappointed with Nabla shadows at all. This is that white shadow that you're seeing. It has a strong green flip to it. Oh my god, I love that shadow so much. And it transforms when you apply that on like a darker base. I love it. It's like one of my favorite winter palettes to have in the collection. I love it. Our number 30 is going to be Colourpop's So Jaded palette. Now, this, you cannot find this anymore, but Colourpop has come out with like a similar color story. I don't know, what is that called? It's a mood palette. It's very, very close to this palette. Like, it's just set a little different, and this is all like all over the place, but I love this palette. Like, I love the color story and I love the quality of this palette. And I am glad that I got this palette at the last leg. And I cherish it. I really do cherish it. This beautiful blue, like, it's unlike any other blue in my collection. Like, this green is amazing. I really do love that. This shade called Diamond, it's a Super Shock formula. I put that on top of everything and it looks wonderful. The only thing that I am not like big fan of is this pressed glitter format. I'm not big on that, but otherwise the color story is really beautiful. Okay, now it's time for 20s. Oh my god. All of this is so good, guys. Okay, on number 29, we have Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. Now again, this is not like a recently launched palette, but I got this recently in my collection. Like, I think I got this in like September or October. I absolutely love the formula. The only thing that I'm not like a big fan of is the matte shade. For me, like, this is the crease shade and this is like a mid-tone matte. And if I have to deepen anything, I have to use this black, which I'm not big on using blacks on my eyes. I'm very intimidated by it. But if you're looking for like pop of shimmer shadows, these shimmer shadows are beautiful. I've done like dedicated videos. My holiday look was using this palette And like, if you're looking for like holidays, if you're looking for a palette to gift it to someone, I think they're gonna absolutely love it. The only dud for me is like there are no mattes. If I'm going for this big palette, I want an all-rounded palette. That's all that I'm asking for. On number 28, we have Beauty Bay's Age of Opulence palette. Now, I absolutely love this palette with all of my heart. The only dud for me is that now this palette has a lot of deepening shades and it doesn't have like mid-tone shades or light tone shades for transitioning. And that's the only dud for me. I cannot imagine like a light tone person, like light skin tone person, using this for their everyday look. You can. I mean, I'm not saying no. Like for me, whenever I'm using this, I'm going for like a dramatic look. I cannot do like everyday looks with this palette. And that's the only reason, but the shimmers, the mattes are so beautiful. Like, let me swatch a few. Let me show it to you. You would be amazed with the quality. Like, look at that. These are some beautiful, beautiful eyeshadow palettes. So if you're looking for one, I mean, you would not be disappointed for sure. Like for sure, you'll not be disappointed. It's just that you can only get like dramatic looks out of this. Like, are you serious and are you kidding me? I need to play with this right now. Oh my God. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. I just don't reach out for those palettes like for an everyday life. How I basically rank these palettes is like how many times am I using this palette and how many times I can get like variety of looks out of these palettes. Now, if I'm going for like a blue look or a green look, I would happily dip into that palette because I know the quality is amazing, but I'm not reaching and I'm not doing like a blue smoky eye or a green smoky eye like majority of the time of the year. That is why it's ranking a little low. Okay, now you're going to be surprised. You are going to be surprised, I know it. On number 27, we have Pat McGrath's Bronze Seduction palette. Yes, you heard me right. It's Pat McGrath's Big Mothership palette. Now, there's nothing wrong with this palette. Actually, there is. Let me be very, very honest. Actually, there is. This shade and this shade, it's her normal shimmer formula. It doesn't perform. Like for me, I can get better shimmer formulas in Anastasia formulas. But like her standout shades in this palette, you guys know, like these 4 shades, stunning. These matte shades, beautiful. Those shimmer shades are a dud for me, for sure. Like, let me show you dud shades and amazing shades. For me, dud. Like, dud. Amazing, amazing. Like when I am looking for Pat McGrath shadows, damn mother, you need to give me that quality eyeshadows all throughout the palette. Like you just need to give it to me. When I am investing that much money, I probably want like the best out of the best in my collection. Like I don't even want one dud in the palette because it's so much money. And that's why I'm ranking this on number 27 and I will not regret it. I will not. On number 26, okay, I'm feeling so bad, but these are all great palettes. From now on, there is not one dud palette. It's just a matter of how many times I'm applying it on my eyes, okay? Just be very, very clear. Like I love these palettes. Okay, oh my God. On number 26, I have Passion in Paris palette. I love it. I love this palette, but I'm again not using these like deep toned shades on my eyes on a regular basis. And being very, very honest, I have not dipped into this eyeshadow palette so many times in my life. I recently had bought this palette and I've applied this like 4 times in my life after buying this because I bought it in December. So it's just been like a month, but I have used it 4 times already. That is saying a lot. Like it's really, really good, but I have not tested it out so much that I'm going to rank it on top 10. Is it top 10 quality? Yes, it is. Like it is, but I'm not reaching out for those deep tone eyeshadows in my daily life. That is why it's ranking on number 26. Don't kill me. On number 25, let's finish up with this. On number 25, we have Blueberry Muffin palette. And I love this. Like I'm not even a blue person and I am crazy about this. For me, This palette is a little more wearable than the Passion in Paris palette just because of the shimmers. Like these shimmers are all wearable except these shimmers. Like except all, everything is like super wearable for me. And for me, wearable shimmers means I can use that a little more in my everyday life. And that is why I'm ranking this on number 25. But these palettes, both of them, chef's kiss. I mean it. It is so difficult. Why are you doing this to me? Okay. On number 24, I have Half Caked Your Eyes Only palette. Now this is a palette. It's a 9-color story palette, but these shades are so beautiful. They're so stunning. Like the shimmers are deadly. I love these shimmers. Like, and the mattes are also amazing. But look at the quality of the shimmers. Like, are you kidding me? They have duochromes. They have like smooth shimmers. Oh my god, if you guys have not tested out Half Cake Beauty for their eyeshadow, you're going to be surprised on how beautiful those shimmers are. And even the mattes for that matter is super blendable, super buildable. I personally feel if you're going for this palette, you're basically going either for a neutral route or you're going in the pinkier route. Like that's the only thing that you can do out of this palette. But what can you expect from a 9-pan eyeshadow palette? They've given you as much variety as they can in a 9-pan, and I love it. I really do. On number 23, we have Alter Ego's Sahara palette. Now this is definitely the neutral palette that I dip into quite a few times in my daily life. And I love this palette. Like the quality is absolutely amazing. There are only 3 shimmers and all the shimmers are deadly. It's stunning and the mattes are so beautiful. If you're looking for a neutral palette, like look no further. You are gonna love it. Like, I cannot. I don't know how do they do it, but they do it and they do it right with these neutral tones. I love it. I absolutely love this for like running out in earrings, office look, anything where you have to wear just neutrals. And that's a beautiful, beautiful palette. It's a magnetic palette and it does come with like a mirror too. The packaging, the quality, everything is stunning. I am very, very pleased with my Alter Ego palettes. Now it's getting super awkward for me because now, I don't know, these can be my number ones. It can be because I use them so many times. It's just a matter of color story for me right now that we're talking about. But now on, all these palettes are like top-notch quality. I don't know how did I rank them. Okay, so let's begin. On number 22, we have Odin's Eye Red Dragon palette. Now the only reason why this is ranking on number 22 is just because of the color story. For me, it's a neutral palette but with like a lot of red. For me, if I am wearing this as an outer corner shade, I'm basically ending up for like a pink ready eye. It's more pink leaning rather than more like true red leaning, I would say. I get a little bit of fallout when I'm using this palette. I don't get that from the other 2 palettes. But saying that, these shimmers, all the shades are so beautiful. It's a very good elevated neutral tone palette with those beautiful jade greens and reds. I think she took it to another level and I absolutely love this palette. It also comes with like this multi-chrome shade. Oh my god, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And you can like mix and match and get so many looks out of this. I have thoroughly enjoyed this palette. One has to go a little behind, and this for me would be a little behind just because the color story is a little more seen in my collection rather than the other 2. I don't know what I'm saying. I do not know. Okay, let's move on to number 21. On number 21, I have Too Faced Natural Nudes palette. Now, I use this so much. Like, I really use this so much. My favorite tones to wear on my eyes are like pinky browns. And I love this color story. I love when the neutrals are pinky browns, and this is beautiful. Like, I love bronzes, I love my pinks, I love my mauves, I love my browns, and this gives me all condensed in a small palette. Like, this is sleek, it has a mirror, it is very travel friendly. Like, you bet I'm gonna take this palette wherever I'm traveling. Like, if I'm going for a week, I'm basically taking this palette because I can get all the neutral looks that I want out of this palette. On number 20, I love the elegance of this palette and I love the color story. And I'm talking about Artist Couture's Supreme Nudes palette. This is so beautiful. Again, a color story that I've worn so many times. Like, I love the addition of olive green and I love the addition of copper in this palette, and that gives it a little more variety in this palette, and that's why I'm ranking this on number 20. And the quality is beautiful. The shimmers are even better. Like, I love this color story, and the packaging is just a plus point. Like, I love this sleek packaging. Absolutely love it. On number 19, we have Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrizi palette. Oh my god, how much I love this. I cannot even tell you. These pressed glitters, I do use. Like, I love these tones. Like, when I say I don't like burgundy, if you're giving me one burgundy, there's a chances of me to wear that burgundy so much more rather than giving me a whole burgundy palette. So I would anytime go for this palette over the Modern Renaissance palette. And I love that one row is like more neutral. And then you have that pops of pinks and purples and blue and bronzes all throughout the palette. Like, I love the quality, and I love the variety that you can create out of this palette. I don't think you can find this palette anymore. I did purchase mine from Sephora when it was available on like a discounted price, but I mean, I thoroughly enjoy this palette. On number 18, I have Nabla's Wild Berry palette. Now again, this is more of a berry tone palette, but this shimmers just makes it extra special. Like, you can do a more on a corally look. You can do like hot pink looks and like go super dramatic. This duochrome makes it so beautiful and fairy-like. Like, I just love this. This pink is beautiful. The only thing that I think like could have changed is this shade, and this you could have like given us like a proper matte. Like, this feels like a more like a satin matte, I would say. Not a big fan of that, but otherwise I think this whole color story is beautiful. I loved the quality of this palette. On number 17, I have Glamlight's Dirty Martini palette. Now, you know I like stay away from greens, and this has surprised me to another level. Like, I love this palette. If you love greens, I'm not even giving you an option. You need this palette. You will go bananas. Like, not being a green fan, I love it. So just imagine how much you would love it. Like, I love the addition of these like olive tones. I love that the shimmers are wearable. I love how beautiful this looks on the eyes. Like, look at those shimmers. It's such unique shades. And even the mattes are like so beautiful. Like, look at that matte. It's so beautiful. Like, they have an addition of blue. Oh my god. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Like, look at that. Ignore my swatches, but it looks beautiful. Like, I love it. On number 16, I have Natasha Denona's Coral palette. Now, this is ranking on number 16 only because it has only 5 shades. But these 5 shades are amazing shades. Like, I should say that because I use this all the time as like a highlighter. I use this all the time as my blush. This is such a beautiful topper shade, and these mattes are stunning. It's out of this world. I love to apply this as like my red shimmer eye. Oh my god, I love this palette. I've used this palette so many times. Like, I cannot even say. As soon as I put this in my crease, the whole look changes for me, and I cannot tell you. Like, I'll show it to you. I probably should not because this video is going to be like a million years long, but let me just plop that peach shade on my eyes. And look at that. It automatically gives that beautiful pinky tone on the eyes. Like, I do not even have a mirror, but it looks so beautiful, so blendable. Oh my god, it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. I love that peachy tone. Yeah, that's my favorite shade of that palette. Now let's move on to number 15. On number 15, I have Sigma's Ambience palette. Now, this is a beautiful neutral palette. Like, I love this palette. I was like surprised on how beautiful this color story is. Initially, I was not even going to buy this palette. For a neutral palette, I reached out for this a lot. This is stunning. The shimmers are so spectacular. It's so shimmery, and the mattes are also so beautiful. Like, look at that. It's very smooth shimmers. Like, even if you have like texture on your eyelid, I think Sigma quality you should try. You will not be disappointed because these shimmers are so beautiful. The only reason why it's ranking a little more on the lower side is just because you are gonna end up in like a bronzy tone look, or like a very neutral tone look. That's the only reason why it's ranking on number 15, but otherwise the quality is top notch. On number 14, I have It's Well Cosmetics Break the Rules palette. This is, I have cherished this palette and I've used this palette so much. Like, if you have one neutral palette in your collection and you want like some spectacular shimmers, you need to try It's Well Cosmetics shimmers. You'll be surprised. Like, they have some beautiful duochromes in their collection and I cannot tell you enough good things about it. Like, let me just swatch like 3 shadows, okay? I have a dedicated video on these palettes and you need to try it. Like, look at that. Are you serious? Like, these are so lightweight but so dimensional. I can cry over these. I've done like a dedicated video. Please go check that out. You will see all of these things in action, and I've done like 2 looks each with each of their palettes. I absolutely love them. On number 13, I have Alter Ego's Canyon palette, and this is my favorite palette out of the whole Alter Ego collection. I love bronzes, and this gives me so much of bronzy tone looks. Like, I know people are like, okay, this is a monochromatic palette, but even in these bronzes, some of them shifts to a pink, some of them shifts to a copper, some of them are like true bronzes, some of them are like cool tone bronze. It looks different on the eyes, and I love that. I absolutely love that aspect of it, and the quality is amazing. If you love bronzes and if you are eyeing Natasha Denona bronze palette, you need to check this out. You will not be disappointed. That's my guarantee. I absolutely love this palette. I absolutely do. I really love this palette. Like, I treasure this so much. I love it. On number 12, we have Sydney Grace Tiny Marvels palette. This can be my number 1 palette. It really can. The only things that put me a little more away from this palette is just that this green, this purple is like very pastel tone, and I generally do not wear like pastels on my eyes. Even this shimmer, when I'm wearing it, it's like super jetag, but the quality is absolutely top notch. Like, top notch. I love this duochrome shade. This is my favorite shade, Marvel, a rose gold shade. Like, you need to see it. And this is a beautiful duochrome, that blue brown pigment. Like, look at the quality. Like, just look at the quality. This is beautiful. Like, Mel did a smashing job on this palette and I cannot thank her enough. Like, I miss you, Mel. I really do. I love it. Love it. I'm going to cherish this forever for sure. On to number 11. It's Well Cosmetics Flare Collection Remix palette. Are you surprised? I don't think so. I rave about this palette all the time. If you love greens, purples, and pink tones, you absolutely need this palette. This is another duochrome, multichrome palette. Oh my god, how much I love this. I have no freaking idea. Like, I just don't have any idea. Like, oh my god. Like, it's stunning. Stop. Like, just stop. Oh my god. This is stunning. Like, I have a full dedicated video. I just don't want to make this video super long, but I absolutely love It's Well Cosmetics palettes. I think the least exciting one was their recent palette, which I think it's just my preference. I like duochromes or multichromes, which are more like lighter based and not like black based, because it ends up like looking like a smoky eye all throughout. And the last palette that they released, which totally makes sense because it was a Halloween release, it was all like black toned or a gray tone based eyeshadows, and that's why I do not have that in my collection. But if I get a deal, would I get it with the other palettes that they're gonna launch? I think yes. I'm feeling hot. Let's move our top 10 palettes closer to us and I actually do mean it. Like all these palettes, all these 10 palettes, like do your own ranking. I leave it to you, but I know that you're going to enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy it. So talking about that, let's talk about our number 10. It's Nabla's Platinum palette. If you love cool tone, you've not invested in one cool tone palette, and you're not sure whether you like cool tone on you or not, try this. Like, this is a beautiful color story. I love the bronzes, I love the platinum, I love the gunmetal. Like, there's no one shade in this palette that is like not worth mentioning. It's a beautiful color story, and for me personally, I love the quality of Nabla Cutie palettes a little more than their bigger palettes, just because the color story is so curated. Even though it is like 6 eyeshadows, but you can do so much with these 6 shadows. I love it. I absolutely love it. On number 9, we have Sigma's Rosa palette. Now this color story is absolutely stunning. Like, I love this color story. I love when it is like peaches and pinks and burgundies and like neutrals, and everything is like mixed together that goes well together. I absolutely love this color story. I heard a million times by Samantha March when she used to recommend this palette, and I was like eyeing this palette for such a long time. I have to thank Coralie for this, because she gifted me this palette and I have non-stop used this palette. Like, I absolutely love this palette. Thank you, Coralie, for gifting this. Like, I'm in love. I don't know what to say. Like, I am in love. On number 8, we have another Natasha Denona palette, and this is their Mini Love palette. Now, oh my god, this is stunning. I love purpley tones, and I can like get such a beautiful purpley tone with in this section, and I can also go little more on the pinker side with this, or I can do like a daytime look by using only these shades. Like, are you kidding me? Look at that. Like, that purple and this duochrome, it's so beautiful. So beautiful. You need this. You absolutely need this, and I am so amazed that I got this palette for $12.50. Oh my god. Thank you, Sephora, for having a sale, and I thank myself for getting this and not missing out on that sale. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it. By the way, people were asking what is like the size difference. This is the mini palette and this is the 5-pan palette, so it's considerably small, I would say, because this is more like the size of their big palettes, not even their midi palettes. Each pan is like the size of their big palettes, so that's the size difference. Okay, my number 7. Oh my god, why am I ranking this on number 7? I don't know, because these are all like number 1s, all of them. Okay, on number 7, I have Oden's Eye Hummingbird palette. I have been surprised by this palette. Like, I cannot even tell you enough things about this. Like, this is the palette that I was doubting myself whether I need this in my collection or not, just because it's so colorful. Oh my god, but this color story is so beautiful. I really cannot. Like, my video, go and see that video and you'll see what I'm talking about. And I cannot wait to test this out more and create more beautiful looks for you guys. I have been thoroughly impressed by Oden's Eye so much. Like, yeah, I need all of it. Like, on number 6, it's another Oden's Eye palette, and this is the Giant Folds palette. Now, this is ranking a little more higher than the Hummingbird palette only because this color story is so unique for me. It's so unique in my collection, and oh my god, this shade, to die for. Like, this multi-chrome shade, it's just to die for. Like, it has blue, it has pink, it has orange. Oh my god. I at least need to show you the multi-chrome in the Hummingbird palette. Like, I at least need to do that. And that multi-chrome shadow here is fancy. You need to see. Like, when I'm seeing this in person, it looks blue. Like, oh my god, look at that. Look at those shades. I can stare at this all day long. I love this. And these shimmers are, oh my god, the shimmer, the mattes, beautiful. Let me just swatch a few of the shimmers for you and a few matte. Like, look at that. Like, just look at that. Oh my God, I can slap somebody. That's how excited I am. Like, I love it. Okay, on number 5, I have Pat McGrath's Celestial Odyssey palette. Now, this is the holiday palette from Pat McGrath, so it's not like a permanent palette in the collection, and that's why it's ranking a little low, just because if you are interested, you need to get it like right away before it goes away, because once it goes away, it's not coming back. Like, I love the color story. I love the variety. I would have loved if out of the 2 matte pink shades, she would have like put one teal matte shade. That would have like changed the whole game together for me. Like, I miss the matte teal shade. I really do. But all in all, the quality is amazing. The shadows are spectacular. I've done 5 looks using this palette, and I don't think you can go wrong with that palette at all. On number 3, I have Huda Beauty's Mercury Retrograde palette. And this has surprised me to another level. This is the first Huda Beauty palette that I own in my collection, and it is not going to be the last. The variety is beautiful. The variety is like stunning. I absolutely love how many looks you can create out of this palette. Oh my God, I have been impressed by the shimmers, and the mattes are beautiful. They're blendable. These pastel tones I love to wear. Even though it looks like pastel, it looks nice on me. Like, generally pastel tones do not look nice on me, but this really does. Like, I don't know how did she do it, but I absolutely love this palette. On number 3, I have Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. Now again, another discontinued palette, and what a shame, because I love it. Like, I generally reach for this palette whenever I'm going for glam looks, and I could not rank this lower. Like, I could not. I could not. Like, I just could not. I love the shimmers. I love the mattes. I love the Anastasia quality altogether. You guys know I'm a big Anastasia fan, and this has not steered me wrong. The cool tones in this palette have made me love cool tones. Like, I am not a cool tone person in my life, but I have started loving cool tones only because of this palette. That's how much I love this. My number 2. Can you guess? I know you can. My number 2 palette is Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina 5 palette. Now, you guys know I'm big on purples. I love my purple eyeshadows, and this has truly like exceeded my expectations to another level. The variety that you get in this palette is like stunning. Absolutely stunning. You can absolutely go for like cool tones. You can go a warm tone route. You can go like full matte looks. And these shimmers are just spectacular. It does come with like one pressed glitter, but I even love the pressed glitter. I won't even lie. Like, it's just beautiful. Let me swatch a few shades for you. Like, oh my God, look at that. Look at that. Oh my God. Like, my son is here. He's laughing behind. Oh my God, look. Oh my God, this is stunning. Like, have you not heard me raving about this palette? Then you are new on this channel, then please do subscribe before leaving. But if you've been on this channel, you know my love affair with this. Like, I love purple shadows, and this has Smithy written all over this palette. Like, I love it. Okay, let's talk about our number 1. It can be a surprise and not a surprise for a few people, I would say. But I rank my number 1 on the number of times I've used this eyeshadow palette. And for glamorous looks, I've used this palette. For everyday looks, I've used this palette. For neutral looks, I've used this palette. For my office looks, I've used this palette. So it's a pretty versatile palette. And for me, my number 1 is Dominique's Cosmetics Latte palette. And I cannot, guys. She just did it for me. Like, she absolutely did with the neutral tones. The undertone is what just takes it to another level. The undertones of all these mattes and the 3 shimmers are spectacular. I love the addition of orange, purple, and blue in this palette. And the neutral shimmers, you don't need anything else in your life. If you're looking for your first neutral palette with pop of colors, you absolutely need to try this. You will not be disappointed. And that was my number 1 for the year of 2021. So those were my 51 palettes ranked for you guys. You tell me in the comment section below, what is your number 1 palette in your collection? And did I do justice to these palettes or not? Like, I cannot wait for 2022. I cannot wait for the palette galore to come in. Like, I already have a palette with me which I've not tested out. Like, that's how crazy I am for eyeshadow palettes. So that's all for today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did like this video, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload 3 videos every single week, every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.